Hello, and welcome back to me sitting on the floor in front of a table in the middle of my bedroom. Let's do it! Hello, I'm Sophie welcome back to my channel, and welcome to all of my projects. An update: if you have been here before, you would know that I did a video like this before, where I recounted all of my projects for the time being. It's pretty extensive, not too bad, but it's been 2 years at least since I've done that, so why not do it again to see what I've added to it. Projects that I've been able to work on, ones that I want to work on, ones that I've worked on that I'd never finished. There's a lot of things that have been added to this list. So we're gonna do that today. Hopefully this video isn't too long, but the last one was pretty long, so this one's probably just gonna be longer. Let's get to it. Alright, I have my laptop here, just because I have a terrible memory. I need to know all the projects that are here. So, let's go. First and foremost, of course, we have Project What? The main project on this channel. It's a sci-fi, dystopian, post-nuclear war novel. After nuclear war, the only place that is now habitable for the average city-dwelling human is on this artificial island that was built in the middle of the Pacific to stay away from all the radiation. So that's where the story takes place. It is about these 3 kids who go to school on this island, and they end up making their way to the biggest, bestest school on the island. One that kind of certifies you being able to do something greater than the people standing around you. Being able to get off the island or help the island, you know, kind of branch out and see if these people can go back to the rest of the world. Because, you know, nuclear fallout, it's not fun. That's what they're doing there. Long story short, gonna cut the context. The teachers of that school end up getting put together in this group, and this group all ends up dying at the hands of the new ruler of this island. It's released that he did it, and they're like, why did he do it? Why would they take the island's greatest people and kill them all? Like, what was the point here? So that's what the story's about. The main character's trying to figure out why this man did this to their island, to the people on their island, to their futures, everything like that. Project What is, you guessed it, a trilogy. I have not written the rest of the series yet. I'm still on Project What, but I am gonna try and get to that this year. One of the projects, I can't remember, I'll have to like redo my yearly plan, which should be out before this video actually, but I haven't done the plan yet. But one of the projects, either the second book or the third book, are going to be my NaNoWriMo story for this year. So it's going to be the 50,000 words that I want to get in November. I don't know which one it'll be though, but there are 2, and those are called Project Moss and Project Rust. Those 3, they're kind of adventure, sci-fi, dystopian, I'll say. 3 projects already. Great. Next, we're gonna go in order of when these were formulated, I guess. Towards the end, it'll get a little muddier. I don't know exactly what order I thought of these stories in, but it'll kind of be around the correct order. Let's hope so. Anyways, the second project I came up with was my fantasy, Project Quest. This story was kind of like a void filler for me, because I finished the 0 draft, the first draft. I called it the first draft, but it's very bad, so it's like a 0 draft, but I finished the first draft of Project What, and I didn't have anything else to work on, and I had been working on that like every day nonstop, and I was like, I feel empty, I feel useless, what am I supposed to do with myself? So figured out a new story idea. It became Project Quest, which we don't have to talk about her right now. It's been through a lot of reworks, it's been through a lot of revising and trying to figure it out, and is it figured out yet? No, of course not. Why would it be? So she's in the works, but I really want to get back to that story because okay, disclaimer, I might be changing the plot of this story like a lot with the main story still being there, but there would be more to it. I'm not sure yet though, but this is the main idea right now. So this kid, he is working a little like summer job as a delivery man for the mail service of this world, and he ends up getting a letter from this like witch, and in his world magic is not something that is safe, something you can trust. He doesn't use magic, his family doesn't use magic, the people around him don't use magic, and they see it as something like dangerous and shifty and like weird. So he gets this letter from this witch who he typically doesn't talk to around him, so he's like sus, you know, but he has to go deliver it or else he's gonna get fired, and he can't do that because he's not a very good kid. He has to deliver this letter, obviously. So he does, and it ends up giving him this quest. You see where we got the name from? And the quest is to return these 6 seemingly normal looking objects to these owners, and they're specific owners, but they're like really generic objects. It's literally like a butter knife. It's like, it's a spoon. Like, why can't I just like go get one of these from the convenience store and return them to someone? And she's like, and the witch is like, nah, no, you will learn, you will see. And he does learn, and he does see, because he has to actually take the normal object and get it like transfigured. The thing is that these normal objects are actually disguises for a lot more significant objects, things that come together in the witch's history, because the main character does not know anything about magic. He doesn't know who this woman is, or what her significance is, or what the significance of all this stuff is, and he slowly learns that throughout the series. It all comes together as he finally returns all the objects and finds his next objective, his next quest, if you will. Anyways, this is obviously a fantasy, and it is 4 books. It feels right. It feels right for this. That it be 4. That being said, I do need to fix the series, but it will stay 4 books. I just need to help her out a little, you know? The first book is called Project Quest. The other ones are just Q number. So Project Q2 is book 2, book 3 is Q3, and book 4 is Q4. Kept it easy because I'm lazy. So that was my second book idea. This was like at the height of my writing efficiency, so I finished this draft really fast for the first book, and we were moving on. We were going quickly. We were moving. So I had already figured out, while I was writing the story, I'm pretty sure, another story idea, which would end up being Project Glass. This is a standalone. It's like a contemporary urban fantasy kind of thing. Let me explain. So this one is about 2 sisters who live in this small town that is being affected by a disease. It's a physically corrupting disease, so it kind of like takes over your body and turns you into this sort of monster-y thing, I guess. And the thing is that they've grown up in this town. This is their parents, like they moved them here when they were little kids. They've grown up this whole time in this town, and then this outbreak happens and they lose their parents to it. The sisters are left to support themselves. There's one older sister, and then the younger sister is a year younger, but there's like a drastic difference in the responsibilities they take on, which is one of the main conflicts of the story. And the whole thing is about the dynamics between the 2 sisters and how they feel about the town and leaving, and like how they take on the past, how they are processing that kind of stuff, because it did happen 2-3 years ago, I can't remember now, but it happened a little while ago, but now they're developing into like adults, so like how is that affecting that? You know, also not dying. Let's try not to do that, you know? Let's not die in this little town with a weird disease that no one else on Earth knows about because the mayor won't say anything about it. And all that jazz. It's mostly don't die, don't get your sister mad, pass high school, and get the heck out of this town. That's that story. It's great. I should be working on it right now, but I am in the replotting stage for draft 1. The 0 draft is done. Now we gotta make it decent. Good luck to me. This is where things get a little different, I guess. Thing is, my NaNoWriMo project from 2020, I came up with that idea shortly after Project Glass, and I also have my sci-fi, which I came up with later, but I started writing before the NaNoWriMo story. Does that make sense? I'm gonna put Project Star first. So, Project Star is my sci-fi. She is very cute. This one is also a trilogy, and it is in the same universe as Project What. We'll get to that later. And then the 2 books are just S2 and S3, so that's the rest of the trilogy. Mostly because I don't have names for those projects yet. I will probably change that later, but just a placeholder right now. So these are my sci-fi books. The first book, at least. The book takes place on a human airship, or spaceship, not an airship. We're not in the air, we're in a vacuum. It takes place on this giant space structure that was built on Earth, and they have traveled like across the universe. They've gone insane distances, and they have found a star to orbit, and they've been there for a while, but they are discovering that this star is nearing the end of its life. Obviously, stars' lives are very long, but this one has been expanding for millennia already, and it's getting very close to being not good time. So, and very close means like decades, centuries, whatever, but you know, it's a big ship, you gotta get out of the way. So the ship needs to find a new location to orbit because it needs the solar power, it needs the light, it needs the star. That's it's a star. They're pretty important. So my 2 main characters, one is the daughter of the captain of the ship, so you know she's very tied into this information because her dad literally runs it, right? And the other main character, he is more of like a low-life guy on the ship. He is a blue-collar kind of worker, finds jobs wherever he can. He's not up there like main character number 1 is, but they end up working together when the daughter of the captain and he, who is posing as a guard, have to go to this alien planet in order to like do diplomatic things and be like, hey, if we set up an alliance here, could we orbit your star, you know? Long story short, does not end up working. Main characters become fugitives from this alien race who are very colonial, very powerful, very violent. So they become fugitives, they get separated from the rest of their crew, and the book just takes place them outrunning these guys and trying to find this sort of peace offering that they are told about that they can probably use to free themselves. They could be like, hey, we got this super epic space object, how about you don't kill me and I can give it to you, you know? So that's that book. Obviously the rest of the series must go on, but that's the setup for the story. So now we can talk about my NaNoWriMo story for November of 2020, which is Project End, in parentheses, of the world. So, like this. Project End for short, but Project End of the world. Yeah. This, spoiler alert, wow, is a fantasy, urban fantasy-ish, that is about these 2 characters, wow, crazy, that are, like, that are complete strangers at the beginning of the book, but they are aligned by the god system in this world to be the bringers of the end of life, the end of the world. They are like one half each of the apocalypse, I guess. So this small town has 8, 9 gods? I guess I can check. Like, big cities and stuff will have hundreds. This small town has a very limited number of gods. If I can find them. 13. Whoops. I remember that now. Okay. 13. They represent different things in this town that they have ended up worshipping. These 3 of the 13 that have orchestrated the end of the world. Wow, isn't that great? So they have planted the 2 pieces, the 2 halves of the bringers of the end of the world. One of them is a boy that lives in the small town. He's grown up there, small town things, you know? The other is a girl that lives with her dad, who is like a traveling sort of scholarly guy. They kind of live in his, it's not a car, but it's not a van. It's like somewhere in between, a long car. They live in his car, and they travel around to different locations so he can do his studying things. And they end up in this small town because they're close to a nuclear testing site, like a bomb testing site, and that's what he wants to study, so that's where he goes. But obviously orchestrated by the gods. They convinced him spiritually, I guess, to bring him here. So the two halves end up meeting, and the end of the world begins. And the whole point of the book is the 2 main characters are trying to stop it. But how can you stop it if you are literally the reason it's happening? That's Project End. That is 2020 right there. Project What, Project Quest, Project Glass, and Project Star, I consider my main 4 projects. They're the ones that I work on the most, obviously, because the other ones are all NaNoWriMo stories, so you know, I really only ever work on them in November. But these are my main 4, they've been my main 4, and then Project End's NaNoWriMo. So, let's continue on. So, as I said earlier, Project Star and Project What are in the same universe. Did I mention that they meet up? Might not make sense logically, but I do not care. They end up meeting up and working together to get back to help Earth. Because that was the idea of this spaceship in Project Star, was that they would just camp out and wait until the Earth was better. Obviously it's been 200 years, kind of-ish. I'll figure it out eventually, but the idea for the spaceship was to just camp out and wait, and then we can go back to Earth. And then obviously Project What, they're from Earth, so that's the whole idea of Project What/Star. I can't wait to write those 5 characters together. It's gonna be so much fun, because I wanted something to just tie those 2 stories together, because I felt like they needed to be in the same universe. And they are now. I've written the Project Star lore into Project What already, so it is, and it's a part of the plot of Project What, like the trilogy, so no going back now. Moving on, I have 2 more on here that at the time were like hypotheticals, I guess. They were like, I want to write these. I'll have a ton more of those this time around, but these 2 were Project Trap and Super People Heist Thing, ? Which would have been like a superhero story. I have started writing that technically. But first and foremost, Project Trap, I'm pretty sure it'll be like a novella-y thing, if not a short story. Project Trapped is a sci-fi dystopian sort of thing. Can we guess what my favorite genre is? It is about a world where this virtual reality technology has kind of taken over because, you know, the internet... How do I explain this? The virtual reality wants to make money, it wants you to stay on as long as possible, right? So they ended up making it, like, super strong. They ended up making the not advertisements, but the manipulation, I guess, in the machine very strong, to the point where it's like addictive to be on the technology, to be using it. And the main character is someone who is trained to help people sort of get weaned off of it, sort of show them what they're doing is harmful, and then give them help to stop using it, I guess. And the whole thing is that while the main character is trying to help these people, they have to use a headset as well to like communicate, because they're in the virtual reality. The whole thing is that the virtual reality technology is trying to convince them as well to stay in. So not only are they trying to help these people out from, you know, getting out of the virtual reality space, but they're also trying not to get sucked in themselves. Probably closer to a short story, but I've had this idea for like forever, so maybe someday. Anyways, next was the super people heist thing. As I said, I have already kind of started writing that. It is now called Project Luna, because the main character's name is Luna. I've been pantsing it. I haven't touched that story in months, but it's like a pantsed story right now. I'm just seeing where it takes me. If I want to work on it, I work on it. Obviously I haven't, because I haven't worked on it in months, but Project Luna is about these 4 characters who have superpowers. Slay. And that's basically all I know. It's the extent of my knowledge on Project Luna. Also first person. I don't know what I was thinking. I do not know what I was thinking. I'm so bad at first person. But I have words in a document for that. So it counts. Project Luna. So now I no longer need this guide. Goodbye. Oh, I can't forget my friggin' co-writing stories, which I am so sorry. I am so sorry, co-writers, that I have not touched them. Writing has been bad for all of us, though, so hopefully you're not too mad. I do have co-writing stories that exist that have not been worked on in forever. I am so sorry. Those are Project Sin, a fantasy, and Project Cyberspace, a sci-fi. Now, Project Sin, I feel like I've talked about it pretty lengthily on here as well. I'm not sure, but it is a fantasy about a prince and a thief, and the prince loses his family because the thief, who is working with a larger, like, terrorist sort of group kind of thing, ends up assassinating them. Kills them, poisons them. Oh no, you know, it's... Ooh, the prince is the only one left of the royal family alive. The group does not know this. They think the entire royal family is gonzo bonzo, and they can take over this kingdom. Through circumstances, the thief and the prince end up working together for the prince to get his throne back, and for the thief to be able to send his siblings to somewhere greater. Those are the 2 goals. Working together, doing fantasy things, falling in love. Why not? You know, good enemies to lovers. You love to see it. Yeah, that is Project Sin. Next is Project Cyberspace, which isn't even in a cyberspace no more. The original idea was that these 2 characters were hooked up to a virtual space to keep themselves, like, alive, but, like, they were, like, dead physically, but, like, they were still living in this virtual space. And then the big twist was like, oh my god, they're in a virtual space. That was the whole thing. But we have changed it since then to a full-on, like, Dune-esque sci-fi, where these characters are living on moons surrounding a planet. So there's 4 moons, 1 planet. The moons are taken up by industries, I guess, or, like, yeah, I guess they're industries. Like, there's an intelligence industry, which is, like, technology, there's manufacturing, there's agriculture, there's a bunch of things. None of them really like each other very much, and 2 of these industries, of which both of the main characters come from, are plotting to sort of bring an end to the other 3 moons. And they're doing this by semi-tricking the two main characters into thinking this is like a prophecy to like bring them all together. Long story short, they realize they're being tricked. Oh no! And now their motivations are switched from saving the world and bringing them all together with the information they got from their industries to stopping the industries they came from and making sure the prophecy that they wrote up does not come true. So, that is that. I really want to work on these projects. I should have not done this video. I'm just gonna start wanting to work on everything now. There's also another one that I was working on with another friend, that we didn't get very far in. I am so sorry. But it was called Project Chosen One. At least on my end, it was called Project Chosen One. Who knows? But it was about these two characters, obviously, that were both... One was from the fairy world, one was from the human world, and they're both told that they are the chosen one, and they end up on the same path. Chaos ensues. You feel we only got to the brainstorming stage, but man, I would love to work on this project again. I have too many projects, can you tell? But I'm gonna put that one up here because it counts. We're done with the co-written projects. Kind of. We have a semi-co-written project up next, called Mega Project. If you were here earlier last year, my writer friends and I decided it would be a wonderful idea to write a bunch of stories in the same universe. Like, they would be stories from a chunk of the same timeline at different times. Mine was the first one. It was on the same planet, and it just like got more advanced. Like, mine was the most crude because it was just water and rocks, and it was water and rock people. But it was it was fantasy, it was sci-fi, it was everything. Long story short, I don't think any of us finished the projects that we were gonna do in this. We did do a lot of brainstorming and figuring out how the books would play in with each other, but I don't think anyone finished their version of the project, from what I know. Mine, as I said, was the first book in the series. It's about lava people and water people and how those people do not get along. But then smash, they want to get along, so what do? They marry off the daughters. They try to get the daughters to marry each other. Obviously that does not go well, right? Because they hate each other. Something, end of the world, something, oh no, we end up have to work together to save this. Something, they end up actually liking each other, something, enemies to lovers. Mega project. Definitely worked on it, kind of. Those are all the collaboration ones. Okay, I promise this time. Now, we've got one more main novel project that's actually been worked on. One more. Swear. It is my NaNoWriMo project from last year. Fun, that I never finished, but I really want to finish. Anyways, it is Project Jade. This is, guess, a fantasy. It is about a girl who is trying to kill the evil ruler of this, what is it called? Duke? It's a duke. Duchy? Are those what those are called? Dukedom? She's trying to kill the guy who rules over the place she lives, we'll say, because he's tyrannical and annoying. And her mom, main character's mom, already killed the Duchess. So, like, it's a familial thing. It's like, hey, I killed the lady, it's your turn, go kill the guy. And she has these knives, these jade daggers, Project Jade. You get it now, jade daggers that she has enchanted to always hit their target. If she has a target in mind, they will hit them. And she does. It is the Duke. It is not that hard. She is thinking about the Duke. She is throwing the knives. And lo and behold, they do not hit him. They always hit a person of his staff, as if he is like, has a force field around him or something that is deflecting her attacks. So her main thing is, how is he protected? How can I get through this barrier? And she becomes friends with one of the higher up guys. Not a part of the Duke's staff, but he is a part of like the aristocracy. He's up there. He's rich. He's basically running the place they live in, because they own like an industry like that. He joins the main character because he is the heir to this house. He's the heir to this industry that he has to run for this place, right? And they're not doing great. They're not doing great, and he realizes that they're not doing great because of the Duke. The Duke is not really there for people's benefit. He's kind of just there, period. And he's like, okay, if we end this guy, we can bring in a new government that can actually help us. So he joins main character. But that is Project Jade, NaNoWriMo 2021. 2 years, one was a success, second one, mega fail. It is embarrassing. We don't even have to talk about it. That is my last main big boy project. So, cool. I guess we do have one more that's a novel, kind of, that I've kind of written in. It's literally only one document, and it has 274 words in it. It is another sci-fi. This one is called Project Rat, because the title of the book is Moon Rats, because we're in space again. We're back, baby. We're back in space. I don't know what the main story is. I just know that there is, obviously, of course, very large economic class divide. So one character comes from the, like, down and dirty, freaking doing all the bad work kind of stuff, and the work is asteroid mining. Because asteroids, if you didn't know, have a ton of metal in them. And you know what metal is? Money. So they employ the down on their luck folks, I guess, in this world, to mine on asteroids. And it's not very safe because there are space monsters that I need to figure out. And you know, they don't get very good equipment and that kind of stuff. But it's not very safe, so they put all the annoying poor people on the asteroids, right? And then everyone else lives on the moons. Moon rats. They live on the moons. Like, that's where the cities are. And they're very done up. There's like the slums, and then there's like the cores of the cities, and the city core is nice, okay? And the other guy, the other main character that I know of, I don't know how many there's gonna be, but the other one that I know of came from the slums of those moon cities, right? But he is kind of smart. He's kind of like someone that shouldn't be in the slums. And he is, in fact, recruited by the big city officials, the people that like run the cities, that are kind of sketch, kind of weird. But their whole thing is like, what would it feel like to become a god? They see themselves as gods, right? And they take this like pill, gives them their powers, whatever they may be. Ooh, I don't know either. They offer it to this kid. I don't know whether or not he takes it yet, but he is not on their side in the end. So either he doesn't take it and runs away, or he takes it and runs away, ending up being a fugitive from these city officials, right? That's about all I know. They end up working together to do things. That's it. That's all I know. But I have one short story from creative writing, a second one from prompt roulettes that we used to do in the Discord, and one brainstorming doc. And they're all coming together in this one story. But that is Project Rat. 270 words. Alright, now we get to move on to the fun stuff. The stuff that I've never even touched. let's do short stories first. I'm gonna put Project Trap on here. Awesome. Another short story. Where is it? Another one that I really want to write that I've like pretty much plotted out. Not like a ton, but I have like the bones of it. And it is about a small town that is slowly losing all of its inhabitants because they are dying. They're dying of like just mysterious causes. They're just gonzo bonzo for no reason. They die in the driver's seat of their car, they die in the attic, they die in places you wouldn't expect, and there's no signs of struggle. They're just boom, bye bye. And it follows a little kid in this town going around, and the whole thing is that these people are dying because the light inside them are dying. Very symbolic, very deep. I know. I don't really have a project name for this one. We're gonna call it Project Dead Town. Alright, so I think these are the only short stories I have for sure. What is this? I don't even know what's in my own Google Docs. Now all of these are just weird projects that I thought of probably at like 2 in the morning and I wrote down. Half of which I do not understand anymore, but we will forget about that. We're just gonna go down the line. Okay, first and foremost, this one doesn't really fit under like novel or anything. It's called the Episodic Fantasy Idea Thing. It would probably most likely be the best format as a like comic or like a graphic novel kind of thing, but it would just be 2 thiefy gals doing thiefy gal things. One was a thief and one was advisor of the royal court in this world, whose court gets overthrown, so she doesn't really have a job there anymore. That was kind of it. They end up working together doing thiefy things. I do not know anything beyond that. Okay, this is one that I wrote down at like 2 in the morning when I thought I was a genius, that I can barely decipher now, but like I have a general idea. This one is about a main character who can see the future, but like they don't know it until they see like a pattern in what they're experiencing. Long story short, after they realize that they can see the future, they see this horrible event in their memory, like cast into their brain hole, I guess. And the main plot of the story is figuring out how to stop that from happening. Yeah? Alright, number 3. Scrap number 3. Number 4, it's another sci-fi. So, main character is in Cryo sleep. She is from a pre-apocalyptic world. So, she got put to sleep to be safe from the apocalypse, and then these people get put on a ship, and she's still in cryo sleep. They're like, oh wait, if she's protected now, why don't we just protect all of us through her? As in, protecting their knowledge, protecting their memories, protecting all that good stuff. So they start loading her brain with everything that comes from this group of people to try and save them. So they pump all this stuff into the main character's brain because they're going to be the next leader of these people, right? So they need to know everything. That being said, all the other people around them are also going into cryosleep while the ship is being sent off into space. I don't know. But while they're downloading all that knowledge into their brain, it gets interrupted. The download, I guess, gets interrupted, and they're left to piece together what these people wanted them to know. And while they're doing that, they also have to deal with whatever woke them up. You know, bad thing woke them up. Now they have to piece together the knowledge that's in their brain and how to save this ship from whatever is harming it. Yeah. Project Cryosleep. Oh, here we are. Okay. This one I talked about on a live stream once. I don't remember which one, but I did. It is a sort of chosen-y one. It's about these 3 siblings, and the whole idea is that the chosen one dies halfway through the story, making it useless, right? But it's 3 siblings. These people have been watching them because the prophecy says that one of these kids will be the chosen one to, like, help them. The oldest brother ends up dying early in his life, which leaves the middle brother to fulfill this prophecy. Now it's brother, and then a little sister. So the brother is going on this whole journey to be prophetic, I guess, with his sister next, like, by his side. Climax, boom, he ends up freaking dying, meaning he wasn't the chosen one. Now the sister has to pick up the pieces he left behind, and she is the chosen one. Wow. But this also seems like one that could be pretty short, like novella sized. Could be easy to write. Who knows? I really want to, though, because I wrote kind of like the intro in the car one day, and I really want to work on it. This we'll call the Prophecy Sieves. And the final project this evening. This is a very long video. I'm so sorry. This is a throwback, okay? If you remember the first NaNoWriMo vlogs I ever did, I don't even know if they're up on my channel anymore. I'm sure they are, but the first NaNoWriMo I did, 2019? 2019, it has to be. I was writing a historical sort of drama thing, about, like, a murder lady. It was like the Victorian era, something or other. Because I was obsessed with the Victorian era at the time, do not ask me why. I still love those characters, like the characters that I built up in there. It's just, I am not built for historical pieces, so no. But I was like, how can I use these? And then, I think it was a dream or something that I had, or I was watching a video, I can't remember, but it snapped in my head, and I came up with what is titled in my documents, Victorian Murder Lady, but make it fantasy. So, main character is an assassin. She still kills, obviously. Can't root that out of her. Come on. She is trying to work to bring down these aristocratic families by, like, killing off their mainlings and stuff. And while she is trying to do that, she, like, infiltrates the buildings. She does the thing. She's playing the part right now. She meets the main character, who is the daughter of one of these main families. Bing bang bong, she kind of develops a little crush on this daughter, but this daughter is, like, one of the main pawns in this whole aristocratic family scene, so, like, it is imperative that she dies first. But main character, assassin main character, is like, freak. I kind of want to, like, hold her hand and stuff, not kill her, but that is it. That is the last project on this list. We'll call it we'll just call it Fantasy Victorian Murder Lady. Alright, that is all of them. Let's count and see how many this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. 27. And if you only want to count one bracket at a time, because, you know, trilogy, 20. How many is on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So, bit of an upgrade. But that is it for me now. I will send you over to me designing this digitally to make it look a little nicer right now. Alright, and that is it. That is my projects as of June 2022. Maybe I'll do this in 2 years again. Just keep going. But thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. How many projects do you guys have? How many projects are you working on, like, normally? What are your main projects, I guess? I have 4 main projects. How many main projects do you have? How many projects do you have total? How many projects do you have, like, the backside of this page that are all hypothetical? I would love to know, because, you know, as writers, you're always thinking of something new to work on, right? Brain's always moving and going. So, how many hypotheticals do you have just sitting in your Google Docs or something that are just waiting to be written? I would love to know. But yeah, I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.